All right, you know what, dude? I'm so pissed of being alive and like, no, no, no. I'm not suicidal. I'm just saying that being alive in 2026 freaking sucks, bro. I feel so bad for everyone or anyone that is like getting out of school or getting out of work and starting their lives because everything sucks, bro. Like everything freaking sucks. I grew up in the early 2000s and maybe I guess technically late 90s. I'm an oldie, I'm a dinosaur, I guess, whatever you want to say. And this isn't just like, oh, the old times were better. They were objectively on every metric better than what is going on right now. Like prices of houses, just, food. Remember like those old Pizza Huts and everything like that? Like they were so much better than the freaking Pizza Huts we have now, right? Everything, like everything in life right now is just surrounded by greed, like corporate greed, I want to say. Pokemon cards, right? I freaking love Pokemon cards, but I was too poor to buy them, so now I have a little bit of money and I can buy them. And you know how much a freaking Piplup costs right now? I mean, it's honestly like $1, but like the card packs cost a freaking absurd amount of money because everything is expensive now. Food is expensive. You literally pay $20 to buy, I don't know, something that cost like $5 back in 2011. So, I mean, everything's more expensive, everything's more competitive, and it's only getting worse. And we can see it's getting worse because Apple probably, I was actually not an Apple person. I do have my Android. I have my Android phone here, and I was an Android person for probably my entire life. And then people at work started bullying me, and so I got an iPhone. No case, by the way, and it's cracked, as you can see, because I'm not very responsible without a case, clearly, or with a case. But so got an Apple product, my iPhone. That was the first Apple product I got. Actually, maybe it was the second because I got AirPods, and then I was like, oh my goodness, AirPods are literally the greatest thing ever created. Yeah, so got an iPhone, and it was amazing. And I'm like, oh my goodness, Apple is literally one of the greatest companies ever. And it's for the price that it was. And maybe one can argue still is, and this is what we're going to be talking about. Like, it is such a good product and it deserves all of the, hype that it has around it. And its stock price should be as high as it is because it's a good product. It's like, it serves its purpose and it serves it well. I mean, one can argue it has its little flaws, and I will agree that there are some flaws to the phone, for which reason I use my Samsung as well. But the iPhone, it's a great phone, and I haven't switched over to a MacBook yet because I'm like retarded and I don't know what I'm doing. And there are certain things that, I prefer PC for. But I'm going to make the switch hopefully this year to a MacBook. But MacBooks are also amazing products from what I've heard. They last forever and they're awesome. But it sucks now because I want to buy a MacBook and I can't buy a MacBook for a reasonable price anymore because everything is freaking expensive now, and I am going to freaking kill myself. No, not like for real, but like it sucks, dude. Like, okay, so for example, right here. Oh shoot, what did I just do? I just misclicked. Okay, so Apple's Neo, which is the most affordable MacBook that they make, and it has some like really cool colors. And honestly, like, if I was a student, back in if I was back in college or whatever, that's the laptop that I would buy. I think every like college student should get a freaking Apple Neo or whatever because it does everything that you need it to do. I mean, you can probably play League of Legends on it. I don't know. I don't know. I think, yeah, you probably can. But yeah, it pretty much does everything that you need to do as a student. You can watch movies, whatever, do your homework, use ChatGPT, all that good stuff, right? But it's gone up from $599 to $699. So like $100 for somebody, working and they're in their like mid-40s or whatever. That's not me, but that's probably nothing. But for somebody who's a student who doesn't make money, and for just the average person, like $100 is like a lot because everything else is also expensive, not just the MacBook. Like, your food is more expensive. Like I said, it's like $20. Your freaking like movie tickets are $17 now for one movie ticket, when back in the day it was like $8, like 11 max maybe. So everything is just exorbitantly, I don't know if that's a word. I should probably know if that's a word. It's crazy expensive. So what's happening? So MacBooks $599, the MacBook whatever Neo, what is it called? Neo, yeah. The Neo is $599 to $699. They also increased the MacBook Air, which is also like literally probably a student, laptop. 512s from $1,099 to $1,299. What is that? That's a $200 price increase. 1 terabyte storage price rose $300, and the price of the iPad Air with 128 gigabytes of storage rose from $599 to $740. Holy frick, dude! Like, this is unreal, and this isn't just with Apple. So if you look back to the PS5, right? So PS5, literally probably the greatest console out there right now. They increased the prices of the standard and digital editions by $100 and $150, or by $100 and then $150 on the Pro. So, okay, so PS5, that's also increased. This stupid little Z phone that probably nobody, I'm just kidding, it's a cool phone, I guess, for, if you're into that. But the Galaxy also increased their phone prices. So phone prices are going up. iPhone hasn't increased their phone prices yet because they're already pretty much kind of expensive. And I think maybe they make a good return on those phones. So they probably don't, and most, that's probably where they make most of their money is the iPhones. So they probably don't need to increase the price of that as much. But yeah, so everything's just getting more expensive. I also want to show you like this stupid little thing. Okay, so look at this. A Western Digital 12 terabyte hard drive. So back in the day, like literally maybe a year or two ago, I wanted to build my own like media server. So I bought like a few of these. So one of these is $509 right now, right? And look at how much I got it for. I actually waited a long time because I was like hearing that like RAM prices and everything was going to go up, data like stored solid state drives, everything was going to go up. And it was so funny because these were selling for $239 each when I initially wanted to buy them. And I wanted to buy this specific one because the WRED Plus, it's actually a quieter one, so you can't really hear it. So if you have it like in your room, like it's just, you just don't hear it as much. So this was the specific one that I wanted. 12 terabytes seemed fine. I already bought one before and I got it at $209, but I didn't buy 4 of them at that time because I didn't realize that I maybe might need it. But anyway, so yeah, I got lucky and there was a deal that came up right before the prices increased for $209.99 for one of them, right? And I got 3 of them for literally the price of one. And the price of one is $509, dude. Are you serious? Like right now, like, are people actually like paying this kind of money for this? It doesn't make sense. And I don't know if this is going to be kind of a permanent thing. I don't think so, because what I think is happening, it's called the Ouroboros tail. I think that's what it's called. Or the snake eating its own tail, the dragon eating its own tail, whatever that might mean. But essentially it's, you have this thing, AI, I think you probably know about what AI is by now. And everybody is just hyped because everybody thinks this is going to be literally the greatest thing ever created. And it's going to take us to the moon. Like, we're going to be so much like advanced, like we're going to be so advanced. It literally learns by itself. So the learning's exponential. So it can literally probably learn to make rockets if you just give it enough data, and then we won't need humans anymore. Like, no, that's not like, well, okay, that's the theory. That's what people think is going to happen. Like, everything's just we're going to be able to create everything, and then we might not need people anymore. So all these companies are like, oh my God, they're like frothing at the mouth, salivating like little lizards. I don't know if lizards salivate, but anyways, that was the picture that I imagined in my head because I don't know, they're like snakes and they're just very greedy for money at this point. They don't care about like people anymore. But regardless of that, so everybody's like, oh my goodness, we're going to make so much freaking money. We won't need to hire people anymore. So let's invest billions and billions of dollars into AI so that we can, in the future, make billions of dollars by not having to pay people, because then we can just have a machine do everything for us. And that is what's happening. So none of these companies, fortunately, are like actually seeing, I think so far, actually seeing that there is a benefit to any of this. Because what they're doing, and I have friends that work in the tech sector. What what they're literally saying they're doing is they're making like these big giant companies like Amazon, they're making their workers actually use AI even if they don't need to. They're like forcing them to clock in AI hours, like using Claude and Chat GPT and stuff. And it does help them like with their work, with their coding. Like they like in business and like fintech, like making Excel sheets, like they have programs, AI systems that can actually do all the work for you. And that's great. And then they're just chilling. They're not working as hard anymore, but you still need the person. And some of these places are literally just like ramping up their numbers like, oh yeah, we're totally using AI, and when they're not. So the amount of AI that's being used, I'm pretty sure is actually like not real. And if you ask most of your friends, most people that you know in real life, which I already have done, and maybe I have, you know, my circle of friends aren't in the like tech sector usually, but most people that I know, except for some like very showy people, like, oh yeah, AI is so cool. Like kind of like the, you guys remember the crypto bros? They're like kind of dying right now because Bitcoin's not doing too well, but they're kind of like the crypto bros, but with AI. So they're like, oh dude, I use AI for everything. When was the last time, like, think about it. When was the last time you actually used like Google Gemini, like consistently, or Chat GPT, like you use it for more than an hour a day, besides just like coming up with like a little script for a YouTube story? I totally didn't do that for this, by the way. I'm totally free writing this. I'm just kidding. You know, AI, I'm not gonna lie, AI does help. So, but like, when was the last time you just like nonstop used AI, or you got to a point where like there was like, you reached the paywall and you're like, yeah, no, I'll drop like $60 to like use a little bit more of it? When was the last time you did that? I'm going to go out on a limb here and say most people probably never, right? 94% of consumers probably aren't using AI to the point where they will actually pay for AI. So you have the consumers that are like, bruh, like I'm not going to pay for AI. But then you have the corporations that are like, dude, let's all pay for AI because then we don't have to pay actual people. But then they're making the people that work for them use AI when they don't even need to use AI. So like these corporations don't actually need to use AI to the level that they're saying that they need to use AI. But they see this like dream of, okay, like AI, we're gonna probably need to use AI to that level. So it's like a delusion, or like, yeah, I would say a delusion is a good word for it. They have this delusion that AI is just gonna be everything. So they're literally dumping all of their money into AI. So they're building data centers, and they're just they're just buying like all this, like the premium versions of like Claude and whatever for all their people, and they're showing, and then they're also firing people because they're not doing so well, but they're like showing, oh wait, no, this is funny. So they're firing people because, you know, obviously they're not doing so well, but they're firing people because their companies aren't doing well, and because they need to use the money to invest in AI. And so the reason isn't like because AI is actually so good that they don't need people. They just can't hire, like they can't afford real people anymore because they're doing so bad, and because they're trying to invest more into AI. So in a weird way, it is for AI, but it's not for the reasons that all these like press releases are saying it's for. They're like, oh yeah, AI is just killing it in this company, so we actually don't need to invest in AI anymore. I mean, we actually don't need people anymore, so we're letting everybody go. No, dude, like it's because like the companies are getting cooked. So that's kind of what is happening, because we're also kind of in an economic like downturn, even though the stock market isn't saying that, but we sort of are. Like everything, like I said, everything's ridiculously expensive and people can't really afford stuff as much. But to be fair, like when I go outside and I see like people seem pretty happy. Like I see people at like spending money at like Disneyland and stuff like that. So maybe I'm wrong, but I do think that people are feeling the pain. So anyways, so back on the main topic. So what's happening is all these companies, they're spending money on AI, right? And the heart of AI is RAM, is memory, because all these AI data centers, what makes them go is literally memory, RAM. So it's pretty much the core, like it's the core thing that's needed to have this system actually function. It's like the brain of AI, and you can manufacture these brains. So if you don't have these brains, then like you don't have AI. So all of the companies are spending money on these brains, and unfortunately all these tech companies, they also have products that require these brains that most of us consumers use, and it's our cell phones, it's our like laptops, it's our computers, it's our gaming consoles, everything like that. So they are saying that we need money for these brains, but since we're okay, they're not saying this, but what's happening is they need money for those brains to max out their AI productivity somewhere like in the future. Who even knows if it's going to happen? But they're willing for you to take a hit by paying a little bit more for their products, because since they're investing so much in these AI brains, the RAM, the memory, there's a bottleneck that's created by like the 3 companies that make all these products, right? Because now they're like, okay, we just send all of this we just sell all of this product to these companies so that they can build more AI data centers for their like future dream. But like, we're not going to sell these products to like, you know, the general public or whatever, like little or like RAM sticks or whatever, or we will, but just not at the, you know, at a reasonable rate, or make it as abundant as it was before, because we have to make the production for these companies who are going to be spending above market price. So that just drags the price up of all these memory, RAM, DRAM, whatever, I don't know, SSDs. It drags the price of everything up. But then on top of that, now these companies, since they're also spending money on their little data centers, they also need to spend more money on purchasing those brains from the same companies for their regular products, for their regular people, their regular customers that have always been buying products for them. But since they've created this bottleneck for themselves, now they're buying those products at a higher markup and then selling it to the customers for a higher markup. So now you, the customer, have to pay for this problem that these companies created for a delusion that is probably not even going to come true, right? Like every single bubble in history, the tech boom, the tech bubble, like something great, like this is what all these YouTubers are talking about, and it is true. Like the railroad boom, like awesome things were created. The railroad system was created, that's great. The tech boom, internet was created, that's great. But the whole concept is there's like this delusion that it's going to become the greatest thing ever. And what's weird about this specific delusion is that I would say the internet was probably the greatest thing ever created. What's specific about this delusion is that AI is going to be the greatest thing ever created. And most people, I think in the back of their heads, they actually know that this isn't true, because they see themselves using AI and they're like, you know what, this is pretty cool, I like this, but I don't really need to use it like every day, like it's all right. Like, it's like, be honest here. What do you find yourself using the most? The internet or AI? And you know what? I'll make it a little bit easier. We'll include AI slop in this. So do you use ChatGPT and watch AI slop more than the amount of time that you spend on the internet? Just think about that. Is that something that you find yourself doing? Like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to watch the Fruit Island Ninjas or whatever the hell the Fruit Island like thing. Don't ask how I know about that, but I do know about that. So, do you find yourself doing that, like watching AI slop and spending all day on ChatGPT, or do you watch yourself on Instagram, using Google, using ChatGPT that requires the internet, like things that actually require the internet? Like, I'm gonna go out and wager and say no. You probably use the internet much more than you use any sort of like AI specific thing. So that's one argument, right? And people are saying like, the other argument, which I already mentioned, like businesses are gonna, you know, blah, 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 they're gonna make so much money. And the argument is that, you know, doctors can rely on their AI assistants, workers can use their AI assistants to help them complete tasks. Bro, I've used AI in my practice and it just made things like worse. It like actually, I think there's some cases where like it will make things faster and it And what'll happen is you can like maybe see patients a lot faster, but it's just gonna make you work more for the freaking hospital that you're like seeing. They're just gonna be like, oh yeah, you can see this patient in like 10 minutes now instead of an hour. So like, why don't you see 5 patients now instead of 1 patient in an hour? And it's just like, okay, now you're just gonna have to work harder. And so it's not actually gonna change anything. Like, yeah, it'll make things more efficient, and it could, and yeah, I guess that's true. It'll make, instead of hiring 5 doctors, you could probably hire 1 doctor now. So the hospital will make more money. So I see a future where that, like, that could actually make a little bit of sense, at least thinking about it from my field. And obviously in coding, like, that's the same thing that's going to probably happen, because coding is literally like AI can probably just do everything right now. But medicine, that's not a thing. And just anything that requires individual connection, like people interacting with other people, I don't think AI is going to do it. Because at the end of the day, like, people want to interact with people. They don't want to interact with a robot. And I think that's just how it is. Like, whenever you get a freaking, like, whenever you call into like customer support, right? And it's an automated like voice message, you're probably pissed off. You're probably like, bruh, like, I don't want to talk to this robot. Just give me a freaking person. And that's what they're pretty much aiming to do. They're pretty much aiming to solve all of your issues with that robot. And every single time I have this happen, I've recently had this happen with Amazon's AI. I have to end up talking to a specific person. So I don't know. Like, I don't think we're heading in the right direction. But what I think is going to happen, and because of these RAM prices and what we're already witnessing, we're seeing a historic rise, obviously, of great companies that, were making what I would say is like the shovel to like a gold mine that probably doesn't exist. So things like Micron, SanDisk, SK Hynix, Samsung, like, I think Samsung, yeah, makes these products too, but they're making like these memory chips that pretty much drive AI, right? And since they're the sole providers, they have all control of the pricing. And so what's going to end up happening, and what I think is already happening, is they're making things so expensive, and all these companies that are serving people, like consumers, they have to also make these products for their original consumers very expensive. And what's going to probably happen, unless people start making a lot more money in their jobs, which we all know hasn't been happening, then people are just going to wait. They're not going to buy products from these companies anymore, because these products are already like pretty good. It's just, it was trendy, or it used to be trendy to have the latest product, right? Like, oh, look at me, I have the latest iPhone. Oh, like, I'm so cool. Oh, I have the latest Z Flip. Like, nobody's going to care about that anymore. In fact, people are just going to be like, wow, you just like wasting money. You're like retarded. Why did you spend so much money on that when your last one was better? And that's another thing. Technology before was actually, I would say, some tech before was better than what it is now. Like the Samsung S24 Ultra, it had the pen, right? You could literally like you can use the phone and you can take a picture of yourself with the pen. You can't do that anymore because it's more expensive, and they don't think people are going to use that functionality, when a lot of people want that functionality back. And maybe it'll come back in the S26 or 27, whatever the hell they're on right now. But regardless, so technology is getting more expensive, and arguably probably getting worse in some cases. Like, there isn't, like, it's plateaued, and the same thing I think will happen to AI, and a lot faster, because AI can exponentially get better much quicker, so it'll hit the plateau a lot faster. So that's what I think will happen with AI. But to kind of backtrack on the point I was trying to make, so these companies are selling these products to their consumers for a higher markup because they have to. I mean, they don't really have to, but they don't want to lose money. But what's going to happen is they are going to lose money. Possibly. I'm actually not sure how this is going to work out. Maybe there's a chance that consumers will like fork up the like clams or shells or whatever to pay for this. I don't think that's honestly going to happen. And I think that a lot of these companies are going to start taking a hit. Like, people aren't going to pay, like $1,500 for a new laptop, right? Like, if they already have one that works, and like the M3 MacBook apparently works really well for people for years, what's the reason to upgrade at this point? Just keep it. And so these companies are going to make a lot less money from their products. And as a result, their profit margins are going to go down. And so these companies are going to make less money. And so then they're going to have less money to invest in AI. And so then AI is going to start bringing in less money. And then people are going to come to the realization that AI isn't like actually making money. It's like actually making people indirectly lose money by making everything more expensive. So that's pretty much, I think that's pretty much what's going to happen. So once people come to that conclusion that like, oh, most people don't actually really use AI. And if anything, we're just spending money on AI just to make things more expensive for ourselves. Like, and it's not really like the returns aren't really worth it, maybe yet. Like, what's the point of this? And I think that connection is slowly starting to be made, and people are maybe starting to think like, wait, shit, like something like is gonna happen like with this, like nobody's really using this as much as we expected, and like the profit returns aren't as great, and we've spent billions and trillions of dollars on this idea that it will be great, and then it'll happen. Like, I don't know if anything will happen. I can't predict anything, but from the looks of it, I think it's pretty ridiculous. And it sucks. Like, everything's so expensive now, and especially with tech stuff, I'm happy like with the stuff I have. I'm probably not going to buy anything until like all of this blows over. Because it's pretty ridiculous. I might get the new Mac, which might have an OLED screen. That seems pretty sick, but I don't need it. So I have more of an excuse. If they price it ridiculously, I have more of an excuse to just be like, I'm not really going to use it, whatever. Unless I win like the lottery or something. But that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about. Like, everything is super expensive and everything sucks now. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being a little bitch. Like, maybe that's what I'm being. I don't know. But anyways, that's all I wanted to talk about. Just wanted to make a chill video because I'm actually, I'm losing money on the stock market's kind of going down, so I just needed to make a video that's pretty chill because I didn't have time to make a video. No, I'm gonna cut that part out. Peace.